on now, fellas. We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go.
Good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow, and we have Mo Patton. As always, what a fantastic Monday it was. We continue just rolling right into Tuesday, Mo. We got a lot to talk about and some great folks to talk to.
Yeah, looking forward to visiting with both Ben Arthur of FoxSports.com to talk a little NFL, specifically Titans, and Trevecca women's basketball coach Karen Booker, who in her first season at the helm of that program has done something that has never been done before. So
Never been done.
Never.
That's impressive.
Never, ever. First season.
And not just never been done, but she took over a program that was in
not great shape.
Struggling over the last few years, and to turn it around so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What an impressive feat. And they'll be heading to the NCAA Division II basketball tournament. Of course, if they win in round one, their prize is undefeated and top-ranked Ashland. But that's okay. You still got there. Hey, and that's what matters.
You can't win if you don't play.
You can't. Right? Well, there you go. So fresh off their runner-up finish in the GMAC.
The GMAC, the Great Midwest Athletic Conference.
I love that GMAC.
Yes.
That's awesome. They again, runners up to Ashland in that tournament, but made the field as a number 5 seed. And so we'll talk to Karen a little bit later. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've also got a lot to get to in the world of sports. Mo, in college football, you would think that on March 7th we wouldn't have a lot to talk about, and yet
you'd think wrong, huh?
So there's a lot to get to in the world of college football. There's also, plenty of high school sports if necessary to dive into. Again, 8 boys teams in each classification punched their tickets to the state tournament last night. We'll give you some results for the mid-state here in the rundown. Also, girls state tournament action ongoing as we speak.
That's
right. So we'll get to all of that and much, much more. So
this is the rundown.
Okay.
I guess Justin's ready.
He was.
Without further ado, we give you the rundown. In boys sectional action from Monday night, Blackman defeated Cleveland 58-46. Chester County down Murfreesboro Central 67-65. East Robertson, the defending Class 1A state champions, right? Is that right?
They are.
Okay. They are still defending after their 63-54 win over Van Buren County last night. Fairview punches through with a 59-51 win at Gibson County after trailing 43-36 at one point.
Yeah.
Now,
there was some fireworks at the end.
There were some fireworks at the end of that game. Yes, forced the Yellow Jackets to kind of beat a hasty retreat out of West Tennessee. But anyway, Giles County also out of Region 5-2A. Gets through with a 53-45 victory over Union City. Hillsborough defeats Hendersonville on the road, 44-35. Independence at home, Downs Green Hill, 46-42. Martin Luther King back in the state tournament with a 66-48 win over South Gibson. McMinn County defeats Laverne, 69-62. Memphis Overton, 105. Dixon County, 73. Pearl Cone with a 58-36 win over Watertown, and Memphis East. Wonder if they got to cut nets down at Rossview after their 62-53 win up in Clarksville last night.
We do know
They had extras. They did indeed.
Girls tournament action this morning. Livingston Academy comes back from down 10 at halftime to take down Greenville 63-60, and Katie Embry led South Gibson, Downs Dyer County, 46-29 to advance in the state tournament. Men's basketball action last night at the college ranks Dyersburg State, fifth-seeded Dyersburg State, I believe. Downs Columbia State, the top seed in the tournament, 73-66. In the NHL play, the Preds pick up a point, but fall in a shootout to Vancouver 4-4.
Girls state basketball tournament action right now. Elizabethton and Dyersburg are playing. That is 3A?
That's a good question. I couldn't tell you.
Yes,
Not off the top of my
that's
head.
a 3A game and will be followed by the final 3A game of the day, as Upperman and Jackson Southside are scheduled to play at 2:45.
Elizabethton winning 41-26 with about a minute and a half to go in the third quarter in that one.
Okay. The final two games of the day are both 4A state quarterfinals, as Sevier County and Bartlett will play at approximately 4:30, followed by Clarksville and Green Hill. Wednesday, Class 4 action continues with Bearden and Bradley Central at 10. Blackman and Cookville in a game that has no business being a state quarterfinal at 11:30. And in Class 1A at 1:15, it will be Hampton and Pickett County.
Baseball action today at 3 o'clock. Belmont is up in Bowling Green to take on the Hilltoppers. That's a 3 o'clock first pitch. You can see it on Facebook Live. I just don't know who's Facebook Live. Lipscomb is at Georgia Tech. That's a 4 o'clock first pitch. I'm assuming it's on ESPN Plus, but I don't know that for sure. Tennessee Tech is at Vanderbilt. That's a 4:30 first pitch on SEC Network Plus, and Boston College is at Tennessee, 5:30 first pitch on SEC Network Plus. Austin P is up at Southern Indiana. That's a 6 p.m. first pitch. That's probably not a long trip.
I don't know where Southern Indiana is. Is it in Evansville?
It's probably.
I mean, it's certainly Southern Indiana, but I don't know where specifically.
I was just thinking, I was like, because these midweek games are usually pretty short trips, and you think Southern Indiana, why would you go all the way up there? But then you realize that they're in Clarksville,
Southern
which
Indiana
is basically Southern
ain't
Kentucky.
that far, yeah.
So it's not really that far. I just thought that was interesting when I saw it.
It's just outside of Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah, so
So
from Clarksville, probably a couple hours, if that.
if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Softball action. Providence, though, traveling all the way down to Austin P this afternoon.
That's
a little farther.
That is not a short trip.
No, I don't. I wonder if which I guess Providence has to come south to play, so they're probably just making the rounds.
The rounds.
It's a 4 p.m. first pitch on ESPN Plus, and an NBA action tonight. Grizzlies, Lakers, 9 o'clock tip on TNT. Without John Morant, hopefully with Steven Adams. That is the hope. So, but that's going to do it, and that is your rundown. Justin, whenever you're at some point, we go, we just get off on tangents, and you just need to reel us back in. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're perfectly fine.
Keep it moving, said Justin.
He's like, hey, guys.
Wrap it up. Yeah. Shoot. Wow.
Hey, we're here for it. Sometimes we need that reel us back in.
Yeah. That it's kind of like that hook on
the Gong Show
at the Apollo.
Oh yeah, at the Gong Show. Oh man, we might need one right now.
Yeah, get us a gong.
Let's talk a little bit about a couple top stories here. One, Amazon Prime has announced that they will stream an NFL game on Black Friday, and it'll be free. So all you have to do is download the app and you can watch it. I find this to be an interesting idea. One, because the NFL typically avoids Fridays, obviously for high school football purposes. But this will mark the first time the league has scheduled a game the day after Thanksgiving And it's a day that's typically ruled by college football. So I'm curious how this is going to work.
You know, there is a demographic out there, and you are in it, that will tell you that there's never enough football.
Yeah, but
so,
the problem is, one, and this is my argument to that, is one, there's not a time frame on Black Friday that there's not a football game on. Okay. There's one at 11, one at 2:30, and one at 6. Secondly, Amazon Prime is a streaming platform, which means if I want to switch between channels,
you can't.
I can't.
You got to get off that stream and
go to
a completely different one.
And so that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. But it's the NFL. They're banking on you not wanting to go to another one.
Well,
because we're the NFL.
They better give them a game better than what they had this past year, because nothing on Thursday Night Football was worth watching at any point, including the Titans. They tried.
Especially the Titans.
So I'm really interested to see how this works out, because to me, it just feels like that's a day that should be a college football day. But maybe not. Maybe, I mean, you get what, one game typically one college football game on Thursday night. But there's three NFL games. Mm-hmm. There's a morning, an afternoon, and then Sunday night football that's on Thursday
night. Yeah.
So I don't know. That also limits, obviously Sunday's games. You just took another game from Sunday.
It's one less game on Sunday.
Made 2 more teams be away from their families on Thanksgiving.
Well, 1 more for sure. Whoever's traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, typically you're in the team hotel the night before, aren't you? I don't know how the NFL works, but I assume that they're in a team hotel the night before. So I guess maybe Thanksgiving is early on Thursday morning.
Yeah, get that turkey done.
We're doing brunch for Thanksgiving this year.
Get that turkey done quickly. Yeah. So
I don't know. I
don't know that I like it. Nobody asked me.
I'm not really a fan. On first initial reaction, not a fan. I may grow to like it. And I do think that Amazon, I think this is basically a big commercial for Amazon Prime. Hey, watch our product.
As is everything else.
But with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit and, that whole crew, they do a really good job. They just have had crappy games to deal with. And for those two, that's got to be weird.
Yeah, because neither of them is used to bad games.
Right. So, and last year I thought they did a fine job with them. I thought, they were a solid crew. Now, Kirk is probably going, "You serious, Clark? Right. You're telling me I've got to go to a football game on Friday and then on Saturday? How about we don't say we did?"
That's what he signed up for,
I guess. I don't know. They probably don't do this without his
signing off on the front end. You'd like to think, but
I don't know. Anyway, speaking of Prime, Mo, you brought this to my attention pre-show. Deion Sanders and his contract with Colorado includes a secondary contract that is a little interesting considering his stance on certain sporting apparel.
Chris Vanini of The Athletic reporting, the first major battle of Deion Sanders' college head coaching career wasn't a game or a recruit. It was about Nike. Jackson State was a Nike-sponsored school when Sanders arrived in late 2020, but Sanders, who has a personal deal and a close relationship with Under Armour, helped convince the school to switch to Under Armour. He never wore the swoosh with Jackson State. However, as Stephen A. Smith would say.
Mm-hmm.
In his new role as coach of the Buffaloes of the University of Colorado, he is contractually required to wear Nike gear in his official capacity. And his contract goes a step further to say specifically he cannot cover up the Nike logo. Terms of the contract specifically say the parties acknowledge. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, he can. Anything that he wears has to, if the logo is on it, it has to be visible, including sunglasses. If there's a visible logo on his sunglasses, it has to be a Nike logo.
Which brings me to my question.
Mm-hmm.
This is Prime. This is a guy who wears designer. He brought his Louis with him, he said. I mean, I've seen him wearing a lot of different sunglasses, and designer sunglasses are a prominent part of his
persona
attire.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that if the LV is on it, too bad, so sad. Or I wonder if maybe there could be a compromise that as long as it's not a sporting apparel company, that it would be okay. Right now,
Nike doesn't strike me as the compromising type.
Neither does Prime. And I tell you, he can take his money and go to the house if he needs to.
But Prime signed the contract.
He did sign the contract.
And either A, he knew what was in the contract when he signed it, or B, he needs to pull a Freddie Freeman and get a new agent.
You're not wrong.
I don't feel like he got blindsided by this. And it would be interesting. I mean, it's unfortunate that there is no reaction from Dion in this article, and I'll be interested to see if there's a follow-up with reaction. I'm sorry, from Coach Prime. With regards to this situation.
I can't wait to hear the quote that he gives. Seriously, because it'll be
legendary.
Everything you want it to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can't imagine that there won't be a reference to the year 2025 when that Nike contract ends.
Yes.
Because look, if you're Nike and you want to keep the contract, do you compromise a little? And
if you're Nike and you want to keep the contract, you got to compromise, because otherwise Dion's going to be like, we're done.
Yeah. 2025 is it. That's the last dime you get from any school I'm at or whatever.
All right. Or from this school, as
Certainly.
long as I'm at it.
Yeah. As long as I'm here, you ain't getting another dime from us. So.
And I mean, Colorado had to know that was an issue as they brought Dion on board.
Or was it a shoot first, ask questions later situation?
It's in the contract, so I feel like they had to know.
And
or maybe I'm making assumptions. I don't know.
Look, your guess is as good as mine. I think it's a really fascinating.
It's very fascinating
situation.
Yeah, I mean,
especially considering that Auburn was, talked about so often in this, and they are an Under Armour school. He was rumored with that school for so long. And
by the way, the Athletic obtained 17 contracts or employment agreements of the 20 new public school head coaches this year. Auburn, Mississippi State, and UAB either did not respond to a request or said the agreement was not yet available. And private schools are not required to release contract information. So, speaking of Auburn.
And UAB, apparently, Trent Dilfer.
Don't both Auburn and UAB wear Under Armour? I'm pretty sure Auburn does.
No. UAB, I think, is a Nike school.
Really? Okay.
I'm almost certain of that. So anyway,
Yeah,
I just
it's very intriguing. It really is. It's just the big business of college athletics and who kind of gets caught up in the crossfire of it. I guess I don't know.
No, you're right. They are an Under Armour school.
Cha-ching.
Interesting. That's it's weird that they would.
Mississippi State is Adidas, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Weird. Whatever. Anyway, we have our guest standing by, so we'll take a break. Ben Arthur is with us, and we will go to break. When we come back, we talk Titans because who knows what's going on.
Hopefully Ben does.
Hopefully Ben does. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow and Mo Patton here with you. Looking forward to this next conversation as we bring in Ben Arthur of FoxSports.com to join us here and talking a little bit about the first month of Rand Carthen's stint as GM of the Titans and what's kind of happened between his announcement and today. So Ben, welcome in. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on again.
Oh, absolutely, man. We've enjoyed it and appreciate you taking some time with us. As Chris was saying, the Rand Carthon regime is a month old now, and we've seen some. I don't know that they were necessarily drastic moves as much as they were pretty well expected. Really, the releases that took place recently, but I think there is a concern amongst the Titans fan base that we Titans fans may be breaking in a new running back here before too long. One, how drastic would that be? And two, how likely do you feel like that is?
It would be pretty drastic, right? Because, Derek he's the engine of the Titans offense. He's the heart and soul of this team. He's the Titans franchise player, right? Most teams have franchise quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are the franchise guy. In the Titans case, it is the running back, Derrick Henry. So I think a year after trading A.J. Brown to be in a spot like this where just the fact that potentially moving on from Derrick Henry is even in the ether, I think that's probably a lot for fans to maybe deal with. How likely is it? I'm not sure at this time that it's really that likely. I think Rand wouldn't be doing his job if he wouldn't at least kind of gauge Derrick's market. I think we all know kind of where the Titans are at as a franchise right now, right? That they're kind of in a moment of transition. They went 7-10 last season, lost 7 straight. Having to kind of offload some of those bad contracts with aging, injured players. We're not really sure whether the Titans are rebuilding or if they're retooling really at this point. And so I think kind of all options have to be explored at this point. And, how serious it is that they actually consider moving on from Derek, I'm not sure that it's at that point. But it wouldn't surprise me that Rand is kind of exploring it. And again, I think he wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't at least kind of gauge what the chatter is because of where the Titans are at as a franchise and trying to figure out like kind of what the next step is after kind of what was a disaster of a season last season.
I think that's a heck of a point that you make regarding Rand Carthon doing his due diligence, and he would kind of be he wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't see what was out there. I mean, if somebody offers you 5 number ones or something like that, then all of a sudden it's a different situation. I mean, so that makes sense. But my thought, and a couple of guys that I talk Titans with pretty regularly, it feels like as you're trying to get this offense back up to speed, you don't want to make yourself any worse than you already are. And by getting rid of the one known commodity in your offense, that's kind of another step back that you'd be forcing yourself into. So it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense unless somebody blows you away with an offer.
Yeah, Mo, that's certainly part of the equation, right? I mean, figuring out how exactly you can get better without getting worse. I mean, and you have to look at Derek's contract situation and like what you would potentially get in return for him, right? Like he's still playing at a prime level, but he is approaching 30 as a running back, which is a devalued position in today's NFL, and he doesn't really have much value in the passing game. So it's like, what would you even get in return for him? And then you look at the contract. If they did trade him, you're only clearing about 6.3 million in cap space, and would maybe, because of all those kind of reasons I just mentioned, kind of his age, workload to this point, little value in the passing game, you're probably only getting maybe a 3rd round pick, maybe a little more because of his status as, a top 2, top 3 running back in the NFL. But if you consider that draft capital and then only getting about 6.3 million in cap space, is it really worth giving up Derrick Henry, which, as we've talked about, he's kind of the face of the team. And so I don't think that's really worth it. And then, like you said, like how would you move on from Derek without getting worse? I mean, that's a great question, especially when you have so many other holes on that offense. He's really been the only sure thing. I mean, you have Traylon Burks, Chiga Okonkwo. Those are probably the 2 most promising players you have on offense if you're the Titans. But kind of around them, the pass catchers, the whole O-line is in flux. What can you really get? Like, what are you really doing to the team if you trade Derek? And so I think that obviously goes in the calculus as well. I still think that the Derrick Henry story will continue in Nashville. But as I've kind of said, multiple times now, you kind of have to weigh everything. But when you weigh everything, I'm not sure that what you would get in return and the cap space you would get in return really justifies moving on from someone as valuable as he is to Tennessee.
Yeah, I know you mentioned his receiving you, and I trust not been exactly a prominent part of the passing game. In 2022, he was ninth in the league in yards and first in yards per reception by a running back in the NFL. Is that something that, because he worked on it, now he had combined the last 2 years in receiving yards, and he had more this year than he had the last two combined.
Right.
Is that something that Derek working on improves his value? Will people see that just this year was an outlier? I don't know, but I certainly think that it's worth noting that he did improve his receptions drastically this past year. But I think the bigger point here is his contract. He's a $10 million cap hit this year. Now, obviously, if there's a trade, that probably wouldn't matter. But how much of the contract situation is a factor in that as well?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's something that's central to this whole debate, right? Like I said, like if you trade Derek, you're only clearing 6.3 million in cap space, and so is that cap space, which isn't really that much, right? Plus whatever draft capital you get for him, which probably won't be that much because of his age as a running back. Is that plus the 6.3 million really worth the value that he adds to your team in regards to the Titans, right? And I'm not sure that it does. And yeah, like you said, Chris, Derek has his receiving numbers have been better. He's worked at it. I know he's worked a lot at it. I've had actually conversations with his high school coach, and we all know the kind of force he was as a runner, even back at Yulee. But I heard that his hands were just like awful in terms of being a pass catcher, and we've seen him evolve over the years, and the Titans have certainly used him more. That they've kind of seen opportunity there, but if you're an opposing team, I'm not really sure how much pass catching value Derek has at this point in his career, being close to a 30-year-old running back, and the Titans, maybe they're feeding him more, right? But is that really something you bank on if you're going to add him? If you're an acquiring team, is that really something you're banking on at this stage in his career? Something that will continue to develop with him? I'm not sure that is. And so the contract situation is very central to this whole debate, right? And 2023 is the last season of his current deal, and so if you're the Titans, you also have to weigh him kind of potentially walking away for nothing. I mean, that they would probably get a compensatory pick, like a third-round pick, if he did walk in the 2024 offseason. But right now you could probably get that same pick value and then plus that cap space, which you wouldn't get if you let him walk next year. So all that goes in the calculus, right? And so yeah, I think Rand is doing his due diligence. So we'll kind of see what happens. But as things stand right now, I don't really see a trade happening.
Ben Arthur covers the AFC South for FoxSports.com. He joins us now here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Ben, shifting gears from the running back position in the Titan offense to the quarterback. Apparently the Jets are in hot pursuit of Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He's still under contract to the Packers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So, but apparently, if for whatever reason that doesn't come through, they are reported to have interest in Ryan Tannehill. again, grab your crystal ball. Are the Titans really looking to move Ryan Tannehill? If so, why? And what happens there?
Yeah, I think kind of with the Derek situation, similar to the Derek situation, I believe the Titans are exploring all options with Ryan Tannehill. We've seen Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthen now at the combine backing Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback for right now, and obviously they wouldn't really say anything else, but I think that it's in their best interest to kind of see what's out there, right? Like if you trade him, you would clear and this the cap benefit of trading Ryan Tannehill is much more substantial than with Derek. If you trade Ryan Tannehill with that pre-June 1 designation, you would clear 17.8 million against the 2023 salary cap, plus whatever draft capital you would also be getting in return for him. And quarterback is obviously the most important position in football, probably the most important position in sports. There are quarterback needy teams every year, and with Derek Carr already headed to the Saints, Geno Smith re-signing with the Seahawks, Lamar Jackson, we're not quite sure what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. He just got tagged by the Baltimore Ravens, and but my point is that the veteran quarterback market is shrinking. Like the available options are shrinking, and so I think if you're a potential acquiring team in need of a veteran quarterback, Ryan Tannehill's value has gone up. And if you're the Titans, I mean, that's something you have to look at, right? If Tannehill's value is going up, I think that's something you explore more intently. And so I think that's something the Titans will look at, even though, as I said, they've continued to maintain that he's their quarterback for now. But I wouldn't rule out. Yeah, I mean, he's under contract for at least one more season under the extension he signed a few years ago. That cap hit is pretty high. It's like 36.6 million, which is the 5th highest in the league. So I think if they do keep him, you have to extend him to lower that cap number, so you do afford yourself more room to improve the team, from a financial flexibility standpoint. So honestly, Mo, it's really hard to say what exactly the Titans are going to do. And that kind of goes back to whether, like, are the Titans rebuilding or are they retooling their team? And right now it's not really clear because, and I think you said this at the beginning of this segment, like releasing Zach Cunningham and Robert Woods and those guys, those were all expected moves. Everyone knew those moves were going to happen. They needed to get in cap compliance and to give themselves some room to improve the roster. But right now they're at the point, they're kind of at that juncture point. Like, is this going in the rebuild direction where you potentially move on from Tannehill and Derrick Henry and kind of start over on offense, or do you retool the roster, the offensive side of the ball around them? And so it's kind of up in the air. I mean, I wouldn't even rule out the Titans potentially trying to trade up from number 11, because this is the highest first round pick that they've had in 6 years. And when else are you going to have the opportunity to potentially trade up for a quarterback? So I think that's on the table as well. So there's kind of a lot of things in the ether with that. It's hard to say right now exactly what the Titans are doing, but it's clear that they're kind of exploring all their options right now.
Ben Arthur of FoxSports.com joining us on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Ben, how long have you covered the Titans in various forms?
I have covered the Titans since April 2021. So So a year and a half as the Titans beat reporter for the Tennessean, and then this past half season with Fox.
Okay. So, where I was going was I was trying to figure out just how much experience you had with in the Titans with John Robinson as GM, and how much different, the feel is for what JR might do versus what Rand might do. I mean, there was obviously we had more history with Robinson, and so I think folks felt like they had a little bit better read on him as opposed to Rand Carthon, who's been in the position for a month, but you didn't have an extended amount of time covering Robinson, though.
Yeah, I didn't have an extended period of time, but I did have a good relationship with J-Rob, and he was the GM from 2016 through December of this past year. So we obviously kind of knew his track record and what he kind of looked for.
Right.
With Rand, yeah, it's kind of unpredictable. This is his first time being a general manager, so it's hard to say what he would do in this situation. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air.
Titans fans are a fickle bunch at times. And we've talked about, would they make it through a rebuild? But, it seems like at least Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon are on the same page here. And I'm curious how much that has an effect on the defense and the extension of Jeffrey Simmons and obviously the release of Bud Dupree and that sort of thing. What do the Titans have to do to continue to be good enough on defense to make a rebuilding of the offense work?
Yeah, I think it starts with Jeff, right? You look at the strength of the Titans the past 2 years, it's been that defensive line. And who's the leader of the defensive line? It's Jeff. That should be close to the top of the priority list. And we all saw, I think, how Jeff recently deleted his Twitter, took down kind of Titans affiliated photos on his Instagram. I think that's kind of a clear indication that he's not happy with the status of contract negotiations with the Titans. I don't think that maybe it's not that the Titans don't want to move on that. I think just right now maybe they have kind of bigger priorities in terms of figuring the direction of the offense and all that right now. But I do believe Rand, Mike Vrabel, that Titans brass, they do want to get a deal done with Jeff. But obviously, as a player, you kind of want to get taken care of as quickly as possible. So I think that's kind of why we've seen the reaction from Jeffrey Simmons that we've seen. But to answer your question, Chris, yeah, I think to kind of keep the defense good enough, you have to start with Jeff. I mean, Kevin Byard and Jeffrey Simmons are kind of the head honchos of that unit, but Kevin Byard is obviously getting older, and pretty soon it's going to be Jeff's defense. And so I think making sure you have him in place, and also if you're Rand, kind of setting the standard in terms of we're going to pay our top deserving talent, like our homegrown talent, the contracts they deserve. I think that should be an important thing for Rand in terms of setting the tone for what his regime is going to look like. And so I think when you look at this defense, I think you have to start with the front, and then when you start with the front, you have to start with Jeff.
If slow playing Jeff is indicative of the Titans front office priorities, Do they need to reprioritize?
I'm not sure that. Again, I don't think that re-signing Jeff is like not a priority to them. I believe it's a priority, but you guys both know what the Titans are right now, the state of this team. They have a lot of things to figure out. They only have 6 draft picks. They don't really have that much financial flexibility. The entire offense was a disaster last season. There isn't really clarity as to who their quarterback is going to be in the short or long term. We don't know really about Derrick Henry's future. I think that there can be multiple priorities at once, and I think that's what the case is right now. And so, I think the Titans want to get a deal done this offseason as quickly as they can, but I think right now at this moment there are probably more pressing things for them to address, with free agency starting next week, with only having 6 draft picks to improve a team that needs all kinds of help and has all kinds of holes. I think there are so many things to read into with the Titans, and the fact that maybe there isn't movement with Jeff Simmons right now. I don't think that means that he's not, a top priority for them.
There you go. Ben Arthur, Fox Sports, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Ben, we appreciate your time as always, and very insightful as we look ahead to the rest of the offseason and the upcoming draft. Should be fun. Enjoy.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, a little college football talk right here on Main Street Sports today. Presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Still to come is Karen Booker, Trevecca women's basketball coach. So stick around right here. Be right back.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Real quick, an update. Elizabethton 66-54 winners over Dyersburg in the Class 3A state quarterfinals. We will be on hand at the Glass House, Murphy Center, on Thursday and Friday of this week, so make sure to come by, say hello. We will be on the concourse somewhere. Just look for the big...
Probably close to the beer garden. Well, beer garden that won't be in operation. Yeah, so...
But definitely check that out. It should be a lot of fun. Look for the banner. Can't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And
can't miss us.
We would love to say hello and just come on by and hang out. And if you come by during the show, don't be surprised if we put a microphone in front of your face. Maybe you've got a question. Maybe you've got something you want to know.
If they've got a question, they won't want to ask us.
No, we can't really help you on answers. We can give you a semi-educated opinion on some things and then very little.
And then you're on your own. Yeah.
But we will be there doing our regular show at 2:00 on Thursday and Friday. So come hang out with us. Mo, couple of things in the college football world. Number one, good news in the world of Georgia football legal problems.
If anybody could use some,
it's the Bulldogs, no question. Ra Thomas, who transferred from Mississippi State, was
still a dog.
Yeah, he's never not a dog. Thomas was facing felony false imprisonment and domestic family violence charges, and those have now been dismissed after the parties reached a deal. So he will go through pretrial diversion for a misdemeanor level offense of family violence battery, according to his attorney, Kim Stevens. As part of his deal, he will complete an anger management course and community service in addition to paying court fees. He could have the remaining charges restricted from his record after 1 year of good behavior.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, no one should be judged by their worst moment. Not any person should ever be judged by their worst moment. And situations, in this particular situation, it was unique in that he was standing in a doorway, and there wasn't any physical violence necessarily, but he wouldn't let the person leave, hence the false imprisonment charges. And I think that obviously has a lot to do with it, but it could have been worse. It could have been a worse situation, but I think this is a good way for a young man to learn from a mistake, to find a way to correct his behavior, and also not have to, ruin his entire life over what was his worst moment. And to me, this is I don't want to believe that this is because of his status as a football player at the University of Georgia, despite it happening on campus. But I think this is a good representation of what our justice system should be. And I think they all got it right in this situation. And hopefully he takes this second chance and, no pun intended, runs with it. He caught a break.
Like you said, and there will be folks who have issues with the fact that he caught a break, and they will conjecture that he caught a break because he is an athlete. But as the father of at one time two college students, like you said, you don't want anybody to be judged on their worst moment. And I don't want to say boys will be boys or anything like that. I'm not trying to excuse it. I'm just saying, sometimes somebody needs a second chance.
I think everybody deserves one.
Yeah.
It's like that time I got my first speeding ticket, Mo. And Grand Ole Opry star Mike Snyder just happened to be in the hotel room with my granddad when I told him I got a speeding ticket. Now, Mike is from Gleason, Tennessee, and you know all about Gleason. If you get a speeding ticket in Gleason, it's because your tractor accelerator got stuck, and so Mike says, well, Charlie, even I got one speeding ticket. So, everybody deserves a second chance. Now I got a couple more after that, but not many. I've had very few speeding tickets in my lifetime, knock on wood, mainly because I don't speed. But yeah, I know. Don't incriminate yourself on this show.
No, because YouTube is forever as of right now. So we're taking the fifth.
But yeah, getting a second chance is important, and everybody's done something dumb, and especially in a situation where there was a heated argument among family members. I know how I get with my brothers. I know.
Yeah.
And so family members, you have a little bit less restraint because it's family.
Right.
You know, you don't feel like it's going to result in something
Bad.
blown up.
Mhm.
So anyway, congrats on his second chance. Hopefully he will make the most of it. Secondly, Chip Kelly will take the Bruins of UCLA into the Big Ten with a new 4-year deal.
That sounds so bizarre.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing ever.
It's pretty weird.
2027 is now his contract year. And, you know, after last year, I thought things were going to get bad when they almost lost to South Alabama, but then they turned it around. They ended, outside of the loss to USC, ended the season, you know, fairly competitively.
Mm-hmm. But again, as we've said so many times on this show, as Ben Arthur just said in the last segment, it's a quarterback-driven sport.
Mm-hmm.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson is now headed to the NFL. They got to identify the next QB1. Now, you feel like Chip Kelly is going to be able to, if anybody can, you feel like Chip Kelly can come up with a quarterback to keep UCLA competitive, but at the same time, there's going to be somewhat of a learning curve at that position as well. So I'll be interested to see.
Unless they get a transfer.
Well, they still got to learn Chip. But yeah, it won't be as steep if that's the case. And that seems to be the MO for
almost everybody.
Yeah.
Kelly is 27-29 in 5 seasons. Can't believe he's been there 5 years.
It doesn't feel like 5 years.
It does not feel like 5 years.
27-29.
But he's 9-4 last year.
That's good enough for an
win.
extension.
Well, he was 9-4 last year with the Sun Bowl win. Finished number 21 in the country. We'll see. I mean, they were 8th in the country in scoring offense last year at nearly 40 points a game, 500 yards a game, 7 yards a play.
So was his deal getting ready to expire?
If they added 4 years, this would have been his contract year, which, as I guess, tends to be a little bit.
and I guess from a recruiting standpoint, then you
got to find.
You kind of had to. So okay, it makes a little bit more sense under those conditions. So, not that anybody asked me.
Due to their departure from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, a lot of uncertainty in the Pac-12, and there's a lot to unpack, but it has been noted that the University of Colorado, who we've talked about already on this show, has scheduled a meeting with its board of directors to, according to Matt Brown of Extra Points, to discuss a legal matter.
A legal matter.
And invited to this meeting is the athletics director,
Rick George, former Vanderbilt athletic administration team member, by the way.
So I'm curious because the rumors are out there that the Big 12 is courting the Four Corner schools, which we've talked about on this show. And if that's the case, and those four schools, Utah, Colorado, Arizona State, if they leave the Pac-12, because the Pac-12 does not have a TV deal in place as of right now, it could be detrimental. Like
I'd go past detriment. Yeah.
Like almost a death blow.
Devastating might be more accurate than detrimental. To
the Pac-12. So
I don't know that the Pac-12, as it's currently constructed, could afford to lose Utah, Colorado, Arizona State, and remain a viable conference. I really don't.
No, that's 4 teams. Now the good part is not a lot of eyeballs as far as TV markets are concerned, but that doesn't matter anymore.
You're right.
So
you lose the Denver market, you lose the Phoenix market, I mean, I don't know how many eyeballs there necessarily are, but those are two fairly sizable.
You're probably adding SMU, which is Dallas, Fort Worth, which is a pretty sizable market.
That's a sizable market, but I don't know how sizable SMU is in that market.
And then San Diego State.
Ditto.
So I think San Diego State probably gets pretty good eyeballs, considering they're the only game in town now.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, even if you add 2, you lose 4, 6. You lose 6 and you add 2. That's not a good recipe for success.
The math ain't mathing.
The math ain't mathing. I was told there would be no math.
That leaves you, if you lose the 4 corner schools, you've already lost UCLA and USC. That leaves you Oregon, Washington State, Washington, Stanford, Oregon State, and California. I was just reading from top to bottom of the men's basketball standings. So that's why that was kind of random.
Yeah.
But that leaves you 6 schools.
Plus the other 2.
Plus what? SMU and
San Diego State. So now you're the Pac-8.
Is that a done?
No, but that's what would likely happen. Mm-hmm. But now you're the Pac-8. And so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So
you're the Pac-8 and you're spread from the West Coast to Dallas.
Dallas being they would have to add somebody in between there. Somebody. I don't know who it would be, but they would have to add somebody. And now your guess is as good as mine.
I don't know who's left.
On what school would make sense, but
none.
So who knows? Anyway, we need to take a break because Karen Booker is standing by and she's ready to talk about her NCAA tourney-bound Trevecca Lady Trojans. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, is back after this. This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. She's on Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions, and Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. It is, in fact, Alyssa Lang.
I'm a little nervous. I'm going to lower the bar for guests now.
Oh, no.
Like, apologies in advance. It sounds like
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
Got that radio voice.
I do.
It's a good sound.
Thanks for radio too.
As do we.
And then here's the other thing. You guys, you're spot on with the name. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. So,
and we reach every Main Street in Middle Tennessee, Coach.
Yeah, that's it. So
Perfect.
When you are on Main Street and you are moving,
you gotta love it.
Like you're moving. I was impressed.
I'm glad someone. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton here on this Tuesday edition, Top 5 Tuesday coming up, where we draft our top 5 best high school basketball players we've ever seen. Now, it's always important, especially this time of year when you're talking about state tournaments and whatnot. So it's always fun, should be fun, and looking forward to counting those down. I don't think that Mo nor myself will have much overlap in this regard, so that's good. But that's still to come here in just a moment. Right now, we want to go to downtown Nashville, I assume, with Karen Booker. There she is. What's up,
Speaking
Coach?
of
How
one of the
are
best
you?
high school basketball players I've seen.
There you go. There.
I happened to get to watch Karen throughout her playing career at Franklin High School. So, and she wasn't bad.
Is she a Hall of Famer there yet? Hold on.
I feel sure I sure hope she is.
Can you nominate her? If not, just go since you're a member.
Surely, Karen, you're in the Franklin High School Hall of Fame, right?
Well, my picture is hanging in the lobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
Maybe
not.
they'll put Mo's picture next to yours, Karen.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Maybe they'll put Mo's picture next to yours.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
She doesn't want that. Trust me. Coach, congratulations. I know your reward for making the NCAA Division II tournament field is to go up north to Michigan this weekend, and I don't know what the weather is like up there, but it's surely not as nice as it is here. But
Yeah.
I guess you guys will bundle up and go, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, and we're actually going to Ashland, Ohio.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, so it's not okay. You're playing Michigan Tech,
Right.
but it's at Ashland, Ohio. Okay, my bad.
Still, the
I knew
weather's
that.
not going to be very
It's not
good
going to
there.
be great there either. Yeah, but
We
yeah.
actually just left from Ashland,
I was
Ohio.
about to say that. You should have just stayed.
Yeah, yeah, but we're excited. Making it to this regional, to the NCAAs is big. It's pretty cool that we get to dance, and it's just been a lot of just a season of really surpassing even our expectations. So we're excited.
Looking at the release that was put out on y'all's selection to the tournament, you mentioned that you guys were picked 12th out of 13 in the Great Midwest Athletic Conference in the preseason, and went on to put up a 21-9 record to this point, the number 5 seed in the 6-team NCAA Midwest Region tournament this weekend. What do you owe that to, Karen? You guys are 21-9 heading into the postseason.
Yeah, well, we're excited. We do have Keely Carter, and she is returning again and had a big year. I think that's Julie Luna. We got her too, and she's a good defensive player. But Keely, made first team all conference, and then we also have Emma, second team all conference. So. And we have a number of really good shooters. But I would say in terms of, me coming in as a new coach, their buy-in has been tremendous. And just, really trying to find offenses that fit this team has been it's been like a good marriage and a good fit. And so now they believe we have rolling.
Yeah, and you guys are rolling right now. Obviously, coming off of a runner-up performance in the GMAC tournament, falling to number 1 ranked Ashland in the finals, and that's always tough when you're in the same conference with the best team in the country. But you guys have certainly used that as a tool to get better and find your way through this grueling conference. Yes. How do you take the lessons you've learned, take it to Michigan Tech?
Yeah, I mean, our conference is so tough. I mean, out of the 8 teams selected in our region, 4 of them are from our conference. So just having a battle in our conference has really helped us to grow, and we had a really tough preseason. So I all another big thing is we keep having to make adjustments for different teams, or even in the midst of a game, adjustments. This team has been great, just following the game plan and quickly adjusting, and that makes a big difference.
Coach, what I'm impressed with is, again, as we said at the start of the show, this is a team that had not had a whole lot of success recently. And for you to come in and basically take the same roster and be able to get 21 wins out of them to this point. I mean, a lot of coaches have things that they like to do. It seems like you came in and kind of assessed what you had and figured out a way to make it work with the talent that was on hand. How were you able to do that, and how important was it for you to be able to do that?
Well, I did want to meet the team, meet them where they were, and as you said, just kind of assess, well, what do we have? What can be our strengths? And 3-point shooting. I mean, we had some good 3-point shooters, and we worked a lot on just working on getting shooting better and better. And then with Emma Palmer coming on strong, that realizing go to our guards, Jada Woods. It's some structure, but I just fall to
Coach, on Karen Booker joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Her Trojans will be heading to Ashland, Ohio to take on Michigan Tech in the first round of the NCAA Division II tournament, turning around a team that had just 5 wins last season. And NCAA.com, in the article, every D2 women's basketball bracket predicted most likely upset, Trevecca Nazarene. This team seems to have a little bit of destiny on its side. It's just unfortunately in a region that boasts 4 of the best teams in the country.
Yeah. One thing we were excited about is to end up, in that 5th place spot where 5 plays 4. The top. So I guess it's just time. So, first thing will be trying to get past Michigan Tech. And I mean, I would say that they're pretty comparable to a lot of the teams in our conference. I mean, they have strong guard play. They have good shooters. They have a good post. But unlike Ashland, who comes in with 3 very strong posts and shooters shooting 50 something percent. They'll be a tough team. But then, we battled against the toughest. I mean, we were down by 11 and 13 points against Ashland. So I'd say that helped to give us a lot of confidence, too, that if we can just get past Michigan Tech, then, we'd be fired up to get another shot at Ashland.
Certainly, it shouldn't be any problem coming up with a scouting report against Ashland. You should be awfully familiar with them, I guess.
Yes. And, to have to try to, last week when we were in the conference tournament, I mean, Kentucky Wesleyan is so tough, and they had beaten us when we played at their place by 15. So our big focus was to get past Kentucky Wesleyan, and then to have to play back-to-back like that, to have to get Ashland after that. We could have used a little more time to prepare for Ashland. So at least with practice now, we can kind of, just kind of tweak some things that we did, and we'll be focusing on Michigan Tech, but we'll look a little bit at some things that we did in that Ashland game and try to sharpen up. So it should just be fun. I mean, we weren't expected to be there, so above everything, I want these young ladies to just have fun and give it their all.
First postseason berth for Trevecca since joining NCAA Division II back in, I guess, 2012-ish. So, like you said, regardless of what happens, you guys have accomplished the program first, and that's to be commended, and the young ladies deserve to be able to enjoy that whatever happens.
Yes. And I do say that, but one thing about these young ladies, even though maybe they weren't accumulating wins in years past, this bunch is very, very active. We do things. I got to witness their competitive drive and a lot of close games this year. But they're not ready to go home. And there's such a high level of confidence and belief. We're not thinking about, the last 5 or 6 years and what happened. We're just focused on, keeping things rolling this year.
Coach, I have a question, and just as I'm looking through the box score from this weekend, obviously the 83-65 loss to Ashland, but this may be the weirdest thing I've ever seen. 14 offensive rebounds. Now, I don't know how many points you guys got off those offensive rebounds, but that's got to be something that you feel pretty good about. If you're able to get some offensive boards and second chance points, maybe shoot a little better from outside, and you feel like you might have a real shot in the event that you get to that second round.
Yes. And if you notice also with that box score, we played them even in the second half. So, there's a lot to look at from that last game that, we're pretty pleased with. And there are other things that we could sharpen up. But, most teams that have played, Ashland's 32 played. I want to say their win margin is over 30 points. So, but, the big thing is we got to keep our focus on Michigan Tech. But it almost feels like a deja vu because last week we had to keep our focus on Kentucky Wesleyan and just take it one game at a time. So, there is some I just think it helps raise our level of confidence too, and that it feels like we were just in Ashland. And
how much does that affect this game against Michigan Tech that you guys understand the gym? We talk about it in the state tournament here when you are going into a new place and the obviously sight lines and depth perception. How much of an impact do you think that could play this weekend?
I think it's going to be, pretty important that we have some amount of comfortability there. And though I want to say Michigan Tech has also played Ashland, but they played them right at the end of the year. But again, we were just there shooting on those goals, making some amount of threes. But, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be the biggest factor here. I think the team that can just stay calm within this NCAA atmosphere and play with the most discipline is going to be the team that comes out on top. And again, we need to rebound well again. And I'm not sure how many points we scored off those offensive rebounds, but we definitely
14.
Yeah, so we definitely need to keep making the most out of every opportunity we get.
Coach, as always, we enjoy it. We appreciate you. We are so excited for you. Congratulations once again. This is a remarkable feat, and we are looking forward to your game against Michigan Tech, and we'll be rooting for you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, it is Top 5 Tuesday, and we draft top 5 best high school basketball players we have seen. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint, returns after this.
Stephanie Miller from Mornings on Main Street. Join us March 23rd at Bridgestone Arena with the Nashville Predators for Main Street Media Night. I know Devin O'Day will be here.
You know I will be, Stephanie. Plus, you can register for a Predators prize pack. They were going to call it the Hockey Hootenanny, but they changed. So it's going to have 4 tickets and food vouchers. You got to register to win.
We're looking forward to seeing all of our Main Street Sports Today fans, right, Chris?
Absolutely, we are. And we could not do this without, of course, our owner, Dave Gould, and our friends here at Smashville.
Speaking of,
where is Dave?
We will see you March 23rd for Main Street Media Night. Let's go, Prince!
Do I have the wrong night?
That's right. MainStreetMediaTN.com to register for that Preds prize pack that will get you a ticket to see Nashville's own Predators against the Seattle Kraken.
I think I like Hockey Hootenanny better.
The Hockey Hootenanny is definitely the it's the way to go. I'm sorry. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Right.
It's gonna be a fun night. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. Make sure to come see us as well. Looking forward to it. Now it's time for Top 5 Tuesday. Brought to you by our friends at Mid-South 5 Fitness, Dallas Still, and the fine folks over at stillathletes.com, at Still Athletes on Instagram. Make sure to go check out Dallas Still and the fine folks either here in Columbia or drive on up to Franklin and see their location there. It's right next to Gateway Tire, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
right off of Cool Springs Boulevard.
So make sure to get up there and see Dallas Still and the fine folks if you get a chance. Now, I'm curious, Justin.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this one.
How much high school basketball is every one of your people going to be like Lebanon players from when you were in school?
Well, so that's the thing. Not a lot of them made it.
Well, but remember, Lebanon did play other teams.
That's true. It's true.
You had to see at least some other folks from around the mid-state. You see any good players from Mount Juliet or Wilson Central by chance?
Some that made it? I don't think so. I mean, Cow Bay, yeah, I don't know, man.
Justin may be out on this one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, this may just be.
I feel bad because I got
sorry.
thinking about it, and I was like, I wonder how much high school basketball Justin's actually watched.
Specific.
It is a little specific. I will give you that.
But
I mean, you can at least have a number one.
That's true. I'll work on that. I'll have a number one by the end.
Well, if you don't, I mean, you can Google.
Oh, wait, that's the first one in it.
You can Google current Class 4A Mr. Basketball finalists and find one that I think you've probably seen at some point. And if you've not seen him, you can at least pretend like you did because you live in the same town.
I like that a lot.
Nobody's going to challenge you on it. You ain't seen him.
Right. How do you know? I got a ticket stub.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
I got one right here. Actually, I do know this guy.
See?
I do know. So I got a number one.
You just needed a little refresher.
There you go.
Oh man. Well, here we go. Let's dive in. And by the way, Justin lost the poll, so you get to draft first overall, Justin.
All right, word. Well, I'm gonna go Jared Hall, Lebanon.
Hey,
we interviewed him. Me and Tommy did for his show.
There you go. Mo, you won, so I will be drafting second.
Right.
Not that it matters in this one. We could literally. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of crossover.
Not going to be a whole lot of crossover here. I'm going to go with Gerald Wallace. Yeah, out of Childersburg High School in Alabama.
Childersburg. Okay. I'm just going to get the elephant in the room out of the way right now. I'm going to go with Brandon Miller.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think I got to see him play here.
Did you not?
I don't think. Did we watch him in the state finals last year? I don't think I was there.
States. Did we not see them at the state last year?
I don't think I did. Those kids from East Nashville, the one that was going to LSU.
Oh yeah, Jalen Jones.
Yeah, that dude was bad, but I don't know that he's going to be on my list here. Do you have any more, Justin? Because if not, that's okay. We'll
going
make it
to
work.
respectfully withdraw.
That's understandable. Sorry about that.
No, dude. Likewise.
We'll try to come up with a better category for next week.
All right, I'm going to go with Boogie Cousins. Yeah, I saw him first at Irwin High School as a 9th grader, and then he played for LaFleur as a senior in the state finals in Birmingham. So,
okay,
solid player.
I'm gonna go with Mercer.
Okay. Now, where did he play? He
played at Good Pasture up until his junior year. Then he transferred to Oak Hill.
Yeah. Now, did he play against LeBron? That wouldn't have been the same time frame, would it?
No, I think he's a little older.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We can't pick folks we saw on TV, right? Because I did see LeBron play on TV in high school
in person.
Okay,
you have to
otherwise
you have to have been in the same facility.
Okay, because if otherwise, he's my number 3.
No, he's not your number 3.
All right, I'm gonna go. This is gonna be off the wall, but MTSU folks will remember maybe Star Orr, who was a member of that second round tournament team in her junior year in maybe 2000.
That name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, she was a starter on that team that went to the second round of the NCAA tournament in the late 90s, early 2000s. But she was, at the time that she finished her playing career at Speake High School, the all-time leading scorer in the state of Alabama with over 4,000 points. Okay. And she averaged a grand total of 5 points per game in her career at Middle. It's unfortunate, but she did start the entire time. So there's that.
I'm going to see your Star Orr and raise you former Christ the King girls basketball standout and Lady Vols legend Chamiqua Holtzclaw, who played in the Best of the U.S. tournament down at Shelbyville back in the mid-90s.
Oh, that's interesting. That's solid. Number 4, I'm going to go Trenton Watford. Out of Mountain Brook, and went on to play at Kansas.
Play for Bucky, right?
He did play for Bucky. Little Bucky ball.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go up to Clarksville and take former Clarksville standout, current Clarksville Christian girls coach, Trenton Hassel. Okay. Big guard, even in high school. And, credit to his coaches for allowing him to play out on the perimeter, even at his size. Really put him in a good spot to develop his career at the collegiate level at Austin Peay and go play in the league for quite some time. So, yeah.
My number 5, and I think I'm only putting him here just so I can get some votes, because he played at Vanderbilt. That's Damari Carroll.
He was fun to watch, man.
I played against Damari Carroll.
No, you were on the floor with Damari.
No, I was. Let's just say Damari has posted me up once or twice.
Well, as long as all he did was post you up and not posterize you.
No, I didn't get posterized.
Okay.
We were in like 9th grade.
Okay.
He wasn't doing quite all that back then, but yeah, I did play against Damari.
Okay. My number 5, I'm going to stay in Clarksville. Sean Marion.
Sean Marion. That's great pick. We got to get out of here. This is the final goodbye on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint.